Hey guys, how we doing and how we feeling today? Okay, so on this episode, we're gonna talk about and review Beyonce's 8th studio album, Act 2 of her trilogy, titled Cowboy Carter. Now, Beyonce Queen Bee needs no introduction whatsoever, so let's just get right into it. So, this album is a blend of three genres mainly: country, western, and R&B. Now, prior to the album release, we had two promo singles, which were Texas Hold'em, which is now a number one hit on the Billboard Hot 100, and 16 Carriages. Now, onto the album itself. So, the album is 1 hour and 18 minutes long, so it is a pretty long listening session. So, brace yourself if you're gonna listen to it. So let's get into it. Now, starting with the first track, American Requiem, the first of my highlights on the album, Beyoncé commands the listener's attention straight away with her powerful vocals. The instrumentation here does what it needs to do to get the listener pumped for the album. This is a strong opening track, and in this song, Beyoncé opens up about the rejection she got from the country community when she performed at the CMAs at the Country Music Awards, who told her she wasn't country enough. From what I researched, it was the fans, the country fans that did this, that they were even racist towards her. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty interesting way to start the album because, I mean, obviously it was pretty hard for Beyoncé to go through that. You know, racism is never okay, and she has endured that throughout her career, and also to say that she wasn't country enough or she isn't country enough. I mean, basically she's shutting up the haters with this album, as you'll see, because we'll talk about it. Now, moving on to track number 2, Blackbird. This is actually, well, I wasn't aware of this prior to this album because I haven't listened to a lot of the Beatles music. I know that's bad on my part, but I will do that. This is a Beatles classic, and it was actually written by Paul McCartney. So Beyoncé puts her own spin on this classic, and I would say she did a pretty good job. And the featured artists she got to sing in this song are Tanner Adele, Brittany Spencer, Tiara Kennedy, and Raina Roberts, which I wasn't familiar with any of them prior to this album, and they harmonize beautifully with Beyoncé. Now, track number 3, 16 Carriages, one of 2 lead singles, as I already said. The instrumentation here really elevates the song, and in this song, Beyoncé opens up about life on the road, with her barely able to be at home with her family and constantly feeling overwhelmed with how much she has to work. So, yeah, I mean, this is no surprise to anyone because anyone that has followed Beyoncé in some shape or form, yeah, I mean, this woman has been booked and busy for as long as I can remember. She's had a pretty long career, and she's showing no signs of stopping anytime soon. So, I mean, yeah, it has to be really hard for her not to be able to be at home with her family, with her touring, and when she's not touring, she's recording an album, and then she has her business endeavors. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty hectic life, to say the least. Now, moving on to track number 4, Protector. Rumi's Rumi Carter, which is Beyonce's daughter. Rumi's brief cameo makes this ballad feel even more personal to Beyonce. And in this song, Beyonce talks about her children, how she feels like their protector and has no doubt in her mind that she will one day shine on her own. Well, that they will shine on her own. Not only Rumi, but also the rest of her children, like Ivy, Blue Ivy. Sorry, I think that's her name. Yeah, Blue Ivy. Now, so this is a pretty interesting song because, it's normal, obviously, for a mother to feel like this regarding her children, as her protector, but that she has no doubt in her mind that one day they will make it on their own, and can stand on their own and, do their thing and all that. Now we're gonna skip to track number 7, Texas Hold'em. This is one of 2 lead singles, as I already said. One of the most radio-friendly songs on the album. It made sense to be pushed as a single. This song was the ideal introduction to this second installment in Beyonce's current trilogy. By far the most country-sounding track on the album. And in this song, Beyonce pays homage to her southern roots, her being from Texas. And yeah, this song really has country written all over it, like it sounds like classic country. So it really was the perfect introduction to this whole new chapter in Beyonce's discography. Now, track number 8, Bodyguard, another one of my highlights. The acoustic guitar gives the song a nice laid-back feel, and the electric guitar towards the end gives the song a nice change of pace. In this song, Beyonce talks about how protective she feels over her partner, so much so that she lets him know that she could be like his bodyguard or lifeguard. And I'm assuming she's talking about, her husband, Jay-Z. So, yeah, it can be normal for someone to feel like a bodyguard or a lifeguard regarding their partner, because you kind of want to protect them. You want to make sure they're safe or protect them from someone else, basically making a statement that, hey, we're together, no one's gonna come between us, and stuff like that. Now, moving on we're gonna skip to track number 10, Jolene. So this I already knew that this is a Dolly Parton classic. So Beyonce puts her own spin on this classic, and I believe she changed some of the lyrics, so it's not a one-to-one cover. The instrumentation and Beyonce's vocals here are splendid. And the male backup vocals, I don't know if you can call it that, but those vocals are repeating Jolene throughout the song, but it's a vocal that is really altered. It sounds kind of weird, kind of off-putting, and it goes throughout the song, so this shouldn't have been implemented, in my opinion. But other than that, this is a pretty good cover of Jolene. But obviously it doesn't beat a cover like Miley Cyrus, her cover of Jolene. Now, track number 11, Daughter. Beyonce's vocals here are stunning, especially in the bridge, where she sings an Italian opera. And in this song, Beyonce talks about the resemblances she has with her father when it comes to thoughts and actions. being his daughter at the end of the day. Despite people saying she's nothing like him, that couldn't be farther from the truth in her eyes. So yeah, I mean, whenever like a woman is told like, hey, you're nothing like your father, and she goes like, well, yeah, I actually am. I'm her daughter. I'm sorry, his daughter after all. So in this case, like father, like daughter. Now, track number 12, Spaghetti, another one of my highlights. So this track sounds strikingly different from the previous one, sounding like a rap song, which I wasn't expecting at all with this supposed country album, but as Beyoncé said, this is not a country album, this is a Beyoncé album. Now, the featured artists Linda Martell and Shabuzi made good contributions to the song. And in this song references the spaghetti western film genre, which got its name from the fact that several of these movies were filmed in Italy, despite them taking place in the American West, which is something that I didn't know about prior to listening to the song. Now, track number 13, Alligator Tears. This is the weakest track on the album thus far, but not a bad song by any means. And in this song, Beyoncé talks about how she's willing to do just about anything for her partner because she loves him on such a deep level. So, yeah, I mean, this is basically about about someone who's head over heels for someone and will do just about anything, doesn't matter what it is. Now, skipping to track number 15, Just for Fun. Beyoncé appears to slow things down, but the song builds towards the end. Willie Jones has a decent part in the song, and I didn't know who, I forgot to mention this in the Spaghetti. I didn't know who Linda Martell and Shabuzi were, and I also didn't know who Willie Jones was. Basically, I didn't know almost all of the artists that are featured on this album. And okay, so Willie Jones, as I said, has a decent part of the song. And in this song, Beyoncé opens up about not being able to be in public without covering up, giving her status as a household name worldwide. She also talks about overcoming adversities no matter what. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty normal for an artist of this caliber, like Beyoncé's, to have to go through this, like they can't be in public without covering up. Beyoncé, I believe she has said that she has like gone into Target with a full-on hoodie on, with the cap on, obviously, like with sunglasses, all covered up, and hasn't been recognized. So it sucks that artists like this have to do that, but I mean, that's the price that comes with being an artist of this level. Now, track number 16, Two Most Wanted, another one of my highlights. Beyoncé and Miley Cyrus have amazing vocal chemistry. This song has the potential to be a hit and therefore should be pushed as a single, and actually it already peaked at I believe it was number 6 it was either 6 or 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. It's one of the strongest songs on the album. And in this song, Beyoncé and Miley talk about two people who are madly in love with each other. So much so that they pledge to be each other's ride or die until the end of time. So yeah, I mean, this song can also apply it to best friends, that they're like, you know what, you're my ride or die until the day I die. nothing can come between us. But in the case of this song, it's talking about a romantic kind of relationship. So, I mean, there's nothing quite like it, a relationship that has this strong of love between it. Now, track number 17, Levi's Jeans. Post Malone has a solid feature on this track, and similarly to the previous track, in this song, Beyoncé and Post Malone talk about two people who are crazy about each other, but with much more lust thrown in the mix. So this is a sexier song, no doubt about it, and we'll leave it at that. Now, skipping to track number 20, Ya Ya. I forgot to mention, this is another one of my highlights on the album. Beyonce's vocals here are sharp. This song is pretty upbeat and energetic. And in this song, Beyonce gets political as she speaks on what it's actually like living in the US, making bold statements such as good old USA shit, whole lot of red in that white and blue, history can't be erased, you looking for a new America, are you tired working time and a half for half the pay? So these are pretty bold statements. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. Now, skipping to track number 23, River Dance. This song is pretty repetitive for its own good and drags on for longer than it needs to. Like, I believe this song can be considered the one where people can go like, okay, it's time to wrap it up. This album doesn't need to go on for any longer, but it does. So we move on to track number 24, Two Hands to Heaven. Also, this song also overstates its welcome. And in this song, Beyoncé talks about having a love so strong during dark times, someone that sees and brings out the best in her as she does him. So yeah, I mean, even during dark times when you have, even if dark times, if you have someone as special like this, then you're good. I mean, yeah, things may be shitty, but as long as you have at least one person backing you up and, bringing out the best in you, seeing the best in you, and just overall making you feel that good, then things are not so dark. Now, track number 25, Tyrant. Dolly Parton briefly hops on this track for the intro. I thought she was gonna sing on this album because she also has an interlude, Dolly P. But in that interlude and in this song, she's just talking. So anyways, both the introduction and instrumentation, particularly the violin, I believe it was the violin, give this song its unique flair. Now, track number 26, Sweet Honey Buckin'. This song is a counterpart to Pure Honey, a track from the previous album Renaissance. Shabuzi's feature isn't very strong in this song. This song can get pretty repetitive towards the end, so we're seeing a pattern with these last songs. Not all of them, but there are some. And in this song, Beyoncé opens up about the numerous times she's been snubbed by the Grammys for Album of the Year and how she only intends to push herself even further artistically. So, I mean, in this year's 2024's Grammys, we had Jay-Z surprising everyone by, when he accepted his Grammy, he he made that bold statement saying that Beyonce is the most awarded artist in Grammy's history, and she has been nominated for Album of the Year for several times now, and she hasn't won it a single time. So it really got people talking. It really got me thinking about it as well. I mean, he's not wrong. It is kind of weird that the most awarded artist in Grammy's history has been nominated for Album of the Year several times but hasn't won it a single time. It is something to think about, of course. And I like her attitude towards this, that she's like, you know what? I'm not gonna fall into their game, to their tricks. So I'm just gonna take this as an opportunity and as motivation to just keep hustling, keep going, keep pumping out, amazing albums, creative albums, and someday I will win it. And I'm pretty sure she will, at least once. Who knows? I feel strongly about the idea of this album being nominated for Album of the Year for next year's 2025's Grammys. And who knows, maybe she will win it now. And that brings us to Amen, the 27th and final track on the album. Beyonce's vocals are quite remarkable here. The album comes full circle as Beyonce references the opening track, American Requiem. And this is a strong closing track. So that's the album. Now, overall, this is a solid album. Rather than crafting a traditional country album, Beyonce put her own twist on the genre and delivered a product that feels more fresh. The production is mostly consistent, and however, this album doesn't have to be as long as it is, because not all the interludes were needed. As you may have noticed, I was skipping through some of the songs. The reason for that, well, there's more than one reason. One, because there are 27 tracks on the album. That's quite a lot. And to review an album as long as this is not easy, so I had to work around it. Basically, the songs I skipped were mostly interludes, and one or more songs that were like 1 minute and so long, or just under a minute. Like, there wasn't enough to analyze or to go over, So, yeah, I mean, well, one thing I will say about the interludes is that not all of them, as I said, not all of them were needed, but some were needed because they helped the album flow, make it more cohesive. But yeah, this album is way too long, and we could have cut some stuff out. So, when comparing this album to the rest of Beyonce's discography, do I consider this album to be Beyonce's best album to date? No. Lemonade, I still consider Lemonade to be Beyonce's best album to date. I said the same thing when I reviewed Renaissance in 2022, 2 years ago. And yeah, now what score do I give this album? I give it 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, guys, that was my review for Cowboy Carter by Beyonce. Before I go, make sure to follow Pop and Bop on social media for more content. It's at Pop and Bop on Instagram, X formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and Threads, and Pop and Bop on Facebook and YouTube. So yeah, this has been Pop and Bop. I'm Emilio Fernandez. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time when we sit down to review Taylor Swift's 11th studio album titled The Tortured Poets Department.